Welcome, Dave.
Just one row is enough for me.
Yeah. Roger, good to see you, Dave. Some of you fellow dignitaries, Jared Richardson, Colgate Palmolive. Bill Love.
How are you?
He's working with Fjord on Fjordian.
Yeah, well,
Fjordians,
they brought me. I work with Kia. And Rob,
Yeah, just move back to the rows.
Could be worse, actually. That's all. It's
manufacturers
Pleasure. I don't know.
It's interesting. You're in the New York office.
Yes.
Okay, so we go. Here we go.
Let's on the side here. And put your dignitaries in the first two rows, and I'm going to go run as a student.
You were admissions for events and contracts with other NCS has a lot of.
Wait, you were 30 people?
And so those people, it's about 25% of the staff. Yeah, it's like the perception.
First of all, strategic project.
Roger taught me, he was my first boss.
Still, like, prior to that,
What are we missing? We're using, missing and Chase. Oh, we have Chase. Yeah, we have Chase.
well, now they.
Who's your third Chase human? Who is it? Oh, Sejal. She's here, I saw her. Yes. Hi, Amy. How are you? Good, thank you. Thank you for your help.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't more helpful.
No problem. I was doing my best not to go to you and Alex and run up to this thing.
And then there's design practice.
This is yours? Yes, sir. Yeah.
I was a fan.
Are you connected to this?
Is there anything else that?
You can go beat the cannabis team out of the wait.
They're not.
They're in a hot box. Yeah, I think generally make people yell that they have it. Okay. Thank you for being here, sir. Thanks for all your help.
It is.
Things going well? You stayed around here.
It's definitely very interesting, and I have a family here, and I actually see connections. I was there for a day, and then I see some connections.
All right, dignitaries, if I could ask you to take your seats in the first two rows. Willie, I'd like you up here in one of these two rows, please. Is Melora joining us, Willie? Do you know? No. Okay. I have a little something for her that I'll be giving to you. I know you're leaving at 7 here. Crystal 4. So you
Has a disgust.
I'll warn the group.
I'll storm out.
In dismay. Yeah, do that. One stomping.
Right.
No. Okay. Maybe over here. Because I'm thinking. Okay. Hi, thanks everybody. Welcome. And we have a missing team who I found sequestered, attempting to lock themselves into a closet around the corner. Matt Harrigan is joining us from Grand Central Tech. Cordy Swope is joining us from Johnson & Johnson. Gentlemen, if you would join us in the first two rows here, the other dignitaries are beside you there. I'm Roger Mader, and I am with my co-faculty, Chriswell Lappin, and we are very grateful to have you today. Thank you very much for being here. To the students, my apologies for the sort of grand inquisition this appears. There is a legacy of history in the room that I wanted to just point out during the introductions. But before we all meet each other, let me just give you a little context for why we're all here and to give you a little understanding, those of you who are going to be sitting in review of these presentations, the context for what the students have been up to. Our program is called Strategic Innovation in Product and Service Design. We are in the first semester of a 2-year master's program in interaction design. And in the course of this program, we take 15 weeks to run the students through, at a relatively fast clip, the entire cycle of producing an innovative new venture. They will go through the exercise of defining the problem to be solved and putting it in an appropriate context. They will discover through both primary and secondary research the needs of users. They will then go through a series of iterative designs with lessons in different design methods to inform them. And lastly, they'll think through the deployment requirements. What's the budget? What's the team? What's the channel in order for me to be able to take this solution to market? In the end, what we're asking them to do, which shows up here, you are here in week 15, we ask them to put together what's effectively a pitch presentation, the kind of thing that you would do if you were going to seek funding from a venture capital firm, if you're going to try and launch a project on Kickstarter or through some other community funding mechanism. So the presentations you see today will be their pitch to you for a particular solution to solve a particular problem. When they came to us, they were these individuals. Motley though they may appear, they were students with problems, and what I mean by that is, for the first class we asked them to arrive with a problem that they felt needed to be resolved in the world. In addition, among us, we have several corporate sponsors who very generously donated their time and their expertise in order to help frame challenges for the students, and the students could choose whether to partner with a corporate sponsor to try and solve a challenge that was put forward by that group, or they could choose to solve a problem that they had defined. Very often we find in this program there are people on a mission. They've come to SVA and they've come particularly to Liz Danzica's interaction design program because they see an interaction design challenge they want to solve, and we don't ever want to sort of disabuse them of the thing that makes them passionate. So we will see a mix of those solutions today, and they come in this form. The group has self-assembled around a series of problems. You will see these two green teams began as one, solving a problem around a challenge of an artificial intelligence-driven interface as challenged by Google in the form of Ryan Vernon, one of our experts who will be meeting today. We have a team in red who is working with Melora Zahner and with Willie Gutierrez, who is here with us from Chase. Melora can't be here, Chase team, but Willie's here for us today. And they were solving a challenge that banks have been fraught with for some time, which is how do we capture and captivate millennials with an appropriate sort of banking experience. We then have two teams who are working with Amy Vickers, who's with us from Digital McKinsey. Thank you very much, Amy. These teams were challenged with a singular point of view from McKinsey's healthcare practice, which was how can we go about treating chronic conditions more effectively, particularly through the domains that interaction design helps to determine. And the teams created two different solutions. One group will be talking to you about the access of medicinal cannabis in California, where it is quite legal but still quite a formative industry and therefore really tough to navigate, particularly if you're an elder statesperson who's got all the difficulties of navigating the internet that can go with that generation. Secondly, we'll have a team that will be addressing the challenges of early onset dementia, and in particular the challenges that a family feels or caregivers feel within a personal community of addressing that stage when the first signs appear. Lastly, we have a team dedicated to trying to address this is the one that's not a corporate sponsor team, that is addressing a challenge that is taking place in Lebanon at the moment. You'll hear about the Syrian refugee crisis going on there. There's vast communities of folks who are dispossessed not only of their nation but of their livelihood, and their children very frequently of education. So they have a compelling challenge where they started with an attempt to try and address access to education for young children, and have come full circle to a clever solution in order to make that fully possible, in part by enabling their parents. In sitting in judgment of them as productive critique, we have a number of folks visiting from the community, all of whom have demonstrated considerable support for this program, with my gratitude and that of Chriswell. We have Ryan Vernon of Google, who I mentioned before. Ryan, would you mind standing so the group can identify you? Thank you very much. Ryan has been working week to week with his first one team that, by the way, split and morphed into two. So he thought he was taking on one team, and all of a sudden his workload doubled. Thank you very much, Ryan. Melora Zahner. Melora can't be here, but she and her colleague Willie Gutierrez. Willie, please. Thank you. We'll do a big round of applause for everybody at the end of this. Willie is part of the Digital Customer Experience Group from JP Morgan Chase, and is addressing the Chase team's challenge. And Amy Vickers from Digital McKinsey, sometimes pronounced McKinsey Digital, if you would, Amy. She has the two teams dealing with cannabis and dementia. Those are not intended to be co-aligned. We have some others. We have Matthew Dolbo joining us from the U.S. Department of State. Matthew was college roommates with the originator of this course. That's part of our relationship. And Matthew and I worked together early in our careers. And let me jump down to Jared Richardson, Worldwide Brand Director for Colgate-Palmolive, who at one time was co-instructor of this program. And we have Dean Furbish, who is joining us as the Executive Chair for Scroll Motion. I'm particularly indebted to Dean for my ability to be a parent, because he was also formerly the CEO of Fresh Direct, which is the only reason my children are having dinner tonight. Matt Harrigan worked with both me and Chris and Jared at one point. Matt is co-founder of Grand Central Tech, a very impressive incubator that you wouldn't be surprised is found very close to Grand Central, and has been a presenter in this program before and a coach to teams. I mentioned Jared. Thank you very much, Jared Richardson, for being here. Recently, new designated brand chair for Colgate-Palmolive. And lastly, Courtney Swope, who's joining us from Johnson & Johnson, where he's one of the leaders of the design enclave of talent that is starting to really propel the consumer side of that business, among others. So thank you all. I'll give you a little bit of instruction of what I'm asking for. So, judges, the presenters are going to have 10 minutes. At the end of 10 minutes, either Chriswell or I are going to make some obnoxious noise and haul them off the stage. They've all been rehearsing to come in at under 10 minutes. In doing that means they may have left out some pieces of information that they will then address, if you have questions about them, in the 5-minute Q&A to follow. We don't have to take up the full 10 minutes, and we don't have to take up the full 5, but that's all the time we're going to allot, otherwise we'll take too long tonight. And my request of you is, following the presentation and the Q&A, we'll sort of break the fourth wall and have a conversation with the students about your reactions. And students, you will also have reactions to your fellow students' presentations. I'm going to be asking you guys to take them down in the Google Sheet that we'll be using for scoring, because I think if we all pile in with comments, we'll be here until tomorrow. So we'll just be hearing from the judges panel, if you will, orally with feedback. Feel free to take that into consideration in your own scoring, because students, what you're going to be doing is opening up the Google Sheet to which you have been invited. Let me just confirm that everybody has access to said Google Sheet. Anybody have a problem? Thank you. The first sheet is, I'll show it to you on the next slide. You have space at the bottom for notes. Let me just tell you about feedback first before I do that. For those of you who are hearing very direct feedback tonight, and you've been working very hard on this as well as your other finals, recognize that feedback is a gift. We have people who are devoting a very busy evening from their very busy lives and a very busy time of year in order to generously offer you feedback that sometimes will feel painfully direct and painfully constructive, and I want you to hear it with the generosity that it's intended. And I expect you in your own feedback to do the same for your peers. One of the things that's always a battle in the first semester is for new students of this program to recognize that they owe each other the responsibility for constructive feedback. So when I ask you to pull no punches, to be helpful, and it's cruel to be kind. So you have to tell people exactly what you think could improve their performance in the demonstration of their design principles. And lastly, the critique is really about the design itself. It's not about you guys personally. It's not about me personally. It's mostly about Criswell. So feel no personal affront in hearing productive feedback. Students, this is what the Google Sheet looks like. This is the first tab of the 6 tabs that you have for each team. Judges, pay no attention to this. You'll be going through, if your name happens to be me, you go to the first category for the first presentation, and you rate on a scale of 0 to 5. 0 meaning it did not succeed in my view, 5 meaning it was exceptional. Think of those as way off the scale with 2, 3, 4 being very reasonable scores to be giving in any of those. And it's very simple criteria. Did I hear the problem in terms that I understand? Do I believe that this team understands who their end user is in tangible terms, actionable terms? Have they produced a solution that I believe the end users would find desirable, that I believe is technically feasible, and has viable economics? Meaning that in order, and let me just explain this for the judges, their goal economically is just to get to what we call a minimum viable product, an MVP, which means they need to have enough resource to get to the first dollar of revenue for a sold product. Every one of these solutions happens to be revenue generating. So we are not asking them what would be the funding requirements or what would be the revenue forecast for all time immemorial. It's just to get them through to the first dollar of revenue. And lastly, storytelling is important. And so a compelling narrative is going to be a very important part of selling your idea. And so I want to just point out that that compelling narrative is another thing on which you should be judging each other. Lastly, I think I skipped President Rhodes. How are you, sir? David Rhodes is the president of SBA. Has also done us the honor of joining us. He's in the back of the room, but he's watching you carefully. And Mr. Rhodes, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. Liz is here too, Rutgers.
And Liz, oh God. And sort of, I know she seems like wallpaper around here, but Liz, who is the founder and chair of this program, Liz Danzico, is also in the house. Thank you very much, Liz, for having us. Without further ado, we're going to call up our first team. Are there any questions anyone has? Oh, I should have mentioned logistics. We'll do 3 presentations, then we'll take a break. I know for sure that we're going to be losing Dean, probably somewhere around that interval. He apologizes in advance, students. He's not fleeing you because of the terrible performance, because of prior obligations. The restrooms are back in that corner, and if you go out by the elevators, you can get locked out, so use the hall. And you're welcome to kind of revolve through the premises during break, and at the end of this, we'll have a little award ceremony and wine and cheese, if you can join us for that. Much appreciated. Okay, first we have Janelle and Ashley representing the Google team. because the microphone is live. You are being video recorded to critique yourselves later. So speak toward the microphone. And I am going to make an announcement when you have 1 minute left. It'll be something quiet like 1 minute remaining. So you'll know. And you are done at 10.
Hello everyone, this is Janelle and I'm Ashley. We are here to talk about Sira. Janelle?
So I'm going to start with asking a few questions, and I just want you all to raise hands. That's it. Like, how many people in this room have a lot of friends? And how many of you all often make plans with your friends? Right. And how many of you all use text to make plans with your friends? Right. Okay. Perfect. So in a lifetime, you make around 396 friends on an average, but only 1 out of 12 friendships last forever. People make plans with their social circle every week, and people use text or call to make plans, and 90% of the texts are usually read within 3 minutes. These are facts that interested us, and we decided to dive deep into. During our research, we came across a few interesting questions, and we stopped by one question.
This is what people said when we were on asking them. Coordinating a plan with your social circle is a task, lots of back and forth, pain in the ass, logical nightmare, a mess, difficult, time-consuming, hectic, cumbersome, annoying, and impossible. So let's take a look at Sira.
Harry is a computer engineer living in New York City. He really enjoys meeting his friends. Whenever he wants to hang out with his friends, he usually texts or calls. This works well when it's just a few people. But let's imagine Harry having to coordinate with more than 3 people. There are various problems like, what should we do? When and where should we meet? Who has already confirmed? What did Jane say when I last spoke to her about the plan? Did Alex forget again? These are problems that everyone faces, not just Harry. It is really stressful to coordinate plans. Introducing Sita, your personal assistant to maximize your social life. So how does it work? Harry adds Sita as part of a group chat. Now all Harry has to do is say, who wants to hang out this weekend? Sita starts a poll of times that work based on everyone's availability. Once the poll is done, Sita knows which time will work best for everyone. She adds the plan to everyone's calendar so no one forgets. Harry has arrived at the place right on time, but his friends were late. Sita finds the locations of his friends and shows it on a map with their ETAs. One more thing, Sita can also take care of splitting the bill. Everyone can simply pay their share in the group chat with just a click. Later that night, Harry enjoys seeing the photos from dinner that Sita has collected from everyone. Next time, all Harry has to do is send a message on the group chat, and Sita will take care of the rest.
So whether you're planning a party, trip, or night out at the movies, Sira is the easiest way to get your friends to do things. Sira is not just a scheduling boat, it accompanies you through the whole journey of meeting with friends. Sira is your friends in common. And it has the power of Google Assistant, so it can do what Google Assistant can do for you.
So now scheduling apps have been around for a while. So why Sita? So the focus group that we are targeting with CETA are the ones that need a way to manage their social life. CETA can not only coordinate a schedule among your friends, but also help you with other tasks that you do with your friends easier. CETA is not only an app, it's like a friend, and it meets you in the apps that you use with your friends, like the Facebook Messenger, or Hangouts, or Slack. So how does CETA work? CETA is actually a part of your group chat on one of the existing texting platforms that you're already using with your friends. So you don't have to install another app. And CETA comes with the power of Google Assistant. So as Google has already been able to tackle big problems like natural language processing, voice recognition, and translation, so CETA makes use of that. Now, how a simple journey of making a plan looks like with your friends is you start making a plan, sync up with your friends, confirm with them, then you finally meet them, and then you cherish the moments. Now let's see how CETA comes into the picture. CETA can initiate the plan for you. It can do all the synchronization, confirming reservations for you. It reminds you and your friends, so people like Alex don't forget about the plan again. It can also take care of doing simple tasks like splitting the bill, collecting photos of the plan, etc. And finally, it's always learning, so it always makes the next plan better than the previous one. We are building CETA on a connected network platform. So third-party integrations are the core of CETA. A few things that CETA can do are it can plan meetups, it can search where your friends are, you can share music with your friends, it can manage payments between your friends, it can collect photos, because moments of a life. Here are a few characteristics of CETA.
CETA is humanized, which means it knows how to behave according to context. It is friendly when you're with your friends, familiar with family, and formal with acquaintances. CETA is intuitive. Here you see how CETA suggests that Harry and his group of friends to go for rafting, as she remembers him having a conversation about it in the past. We all have the one friend who's never on time, right? CETA can seamlessly find which one of your friends are late for the time. Now let's take a look at market opportunities.
So CETA kind of lies in two markets. One is the AI market and the other is the chatbot market. So the AI market in 2015 was valued at around 750 million USD, and it will be growing over 37% in the next 8 years, and is estimated to reach 12 billion by 2024. And the chatbot market was around 110 million in 2015, and it is predicted to grow at 28% in the next 8 years, and is expected to reach around 990 million by 2024. So yeah, these are the two market opportunities that we want to target. Now let's take a look at the business model.
Here's a business model we have lined in for CETA. It is free for a year. It also has sponsored content powered by Google that will be generating revenues.
And so what we would need to make CETA is we have an estimated production cost of around 20,000 USD for an MVP, which we will be able to deliver in 6 months from now. So that's CETA.
Thank you very much. A minute and a half to spare. So let me ask the judges of the reviewing panel, including you, President Rhodes, to pose any questions that you have for the group.
I was curious too, all of my friends have to install CETA in order to have all that synchronization stuff going on? Or
No, CETA is not an application. So it's like an integration that you have in one of the applications that you already installed. Something
it's like a plugin?
it's like a person. to say, if you use Slack, you just install like a third-party plugin into it. So yeah.
And so do your friends need to have installed that plugin as well?
No, they just need to have the app installed. Like if you're using Slack or Facebook Messenger, just have Facebook Messenger installed. As soon as CETA is added to the group, you will get a notification saying CETA has been added to the group, and it would like request your information like permissions for a calendar, location. You can manage all of those within the messaging app that you're using.
Would you say an MVP within 6 months is that with a community of people using it, or how many people would you imagine using it in 6 months? Your MVP.
So let's say about like in the 6 months, the minimum viable product, we say about not more than 100,000 people.
100,000.
Yeah.
How did you arrive at the name?
It's meeting in Spanish. So.
We did our findings.
So how are you going to acquire 100,000 users in 6 months? Is that what you said, or did you mean that?
I mean, yeah, probably we'll have to push on marketing because like the user base of Facebook Messenger, Slack, and these platforms is already good enough. So yeah, we need to just use that and kind of grow.
But your budget, your 20,000 doesn't include acquisition costs, does it?
It's just the minimum viable product. Yeah, it doesn't include the marketing.
The bills and the photo management, I didn't hear your setup in the beginning. It seemed like you were tackling the problem of the obstacle to schedule. How does the bill integration and the photos support that problem of scheduling?
Well, we look at the coordinating schedule, and doing the user journey, we found that there is like opportunities that we can tackle when we actually have a meeting with the friends. So I thought it would be we thought it would be a valuable experience if we provide Google Photos or the paying bills.
It sounds like CETA is an integration into existing apps, but people are still going to have to provide certain permissions. There are certain hurdles you're going to have to get through, such as the location aspect, which is very interesting. People have to opt into that in order for you to see exactly where they are. So have you thought about the user onboarding experience for everybody else when you initiate a chat and invite CETA? You're going to have to get them to accept certain permissions in order to have full functionality.
That's right. So we have a few ideas and wireframes that we have in mind as to like how the permission, let's say the first time when someone says where's everyone, and all the friends will actually get a notification. Let's say Harry is wanting to access your location, would you like to share it with him? And then that's a preference that you can manage at any time.
It's a real opportunity. Right now people drop a pin on Google Maps usually, right? Whereas this allows for a temporary, location under, but I think you have to really think through that user flow in order to get people to opt into this.
That kind of thing is default on for Android, but not on iOS. Interesting. Yeah, location sharing. Like, so Google knows like where you work, where you live.
Google knows, but do I have discretion over when and how my friends know that?
You can, yeah. You should be able to set settings. I would suggest. But, I like what you said about the, it's not an app. It's really like a person.
And I appreciated that also.
That's really the hard thing to understand. Is that it's something that no one is really familiar with interacting outside of the app ecosystem. Familiar with integrating or like interacting with bots in a way that crosses platforms, and it's not exactly tangible to everyone yet.
I think you need the question.
Yeah, in your problem statement, you were tackling scheduling, coordination, as well as location or event, like aligning on what the friends were going to do. I didn't see how that expressed itself in the app. Can you talk a little bit about what your vision is?
So our initial vision was tackling scheduling, but like Ashley mentioned, like as we were getting into the problem of like making a solution for scheduling, we discovered that there were more opportunities, and we thought let's tackle the entire like a meetup of friends as a problem. Like what are the problems that one faces when a group of friends are meeting, and that's what we're tackling.
There just seems to be a lot of opportunity around an app knowing where people are located and being able to recommend centrally accessible meetup spots.
I'm afraid we're going to have to stop there. You're going to get to respond to that. Thank you very much. You guys did a good job of staying on time. I also have to pull an end to the Q&A session too as well. I'm sorry about that. Thank you very much, guys. Well done. And now, because they originated as a single team, we've asked the second Google team to go sort of back to back because they were together when they originated their research. So it saves you kind of having to do the mental jump back and forth for the same problem statement. Okay, so we've got Ning, Lillian, and Wei Ting.
Just while they're going, I just want to capture a thought while I think of it.
Please.
Because I think that part of the pain point for what they're trying to solve is actually the decision making of what to do.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not just the scheduling. The scheduling is actually the easy part. It's deciding what, when is actually easy, but what and who leads that whole process is actually quite hard.
Yeah.
So if you've got more than one option, like 5 options, like even which restaurant to go to, let alone if it's a restaurant or not. Like that's kind of interesting. So maybe it's like, is it a survey? Is it democratic? Like how do you make a decision? As a group make a decision.
Ning, you ready? All right, and we are go.
Yeah, we are a Google team, a Google Challenge team. I'm Ning. I'm Lily.
I'm waiting. How do you manage your daily routine? Do you feel frustrated by the constant tasks? This is Mike. He's one of the users who is struggling with the daily routine tasks. So let's see what problems does Mike encounter in a day.
Mike is a sales manager. Mike sleeps through his alarm. He wakes up, he immediately checks his calendar to see his agenda for the day. He discovers there's a meeting in 30 minutes. He rushes out the door to make it on time. Mike follows his daily route and takes the path very fast. Unfortunately, the train is out of service. He gets back to the train and jumps into a cab. He's 20 minutes late for his meeting. He looks unprofessional in front of an important client. Problem 1. Mike was unaware of train delays and did not know the best route to take to work. After the meeting, Mike checks his email. He has over 50 new emails and only 15 minutes until his next meeting. He quickly scans them and prioritizes the messages to respond to first. Unfortunately, he skips an important client email and a project deliverable gets pushed back. Mike is stressed. Problem 2. Mike sends and receives so many emails, it is easy for him to lose track of the important ones. 5 of Mike's college friends want to plan a night out. Mike takes responsibility for planning and uses multiple communication channels to do so. Slack, Facebook, WhatsApp, and texting. He has to switch between his professional account and his personal account to talk about activities, check on each person's availability. Overall, he spends more than 4 hours planning. Problem 3. It's time-consuming for Mike to go back and forth in order to organize a group of people.
especially when using different communication channels to figure out the details.
According to online research from the Rigetti group, which provide competitive qualitative research on email, user receives over 80 business emails per day and spend like over 3 hours to deal with them. Delta from information overload research group states many of us are receiving so much email that we can never read it all, and it's overwhelming for our ability to do our work. Therefore, it's easy to miss an important message.
The back and forth communication is the most substantial time killer while scheduling, and the number of iterations and the time needed grow right along with the number of participants. In general, for discussing private dinner with 4 to 6 participants, it usually takes 14 to 17 minutes. For the business meeting up to 6 participants, it usually takes 20 to 25 minutes average time. There's also big problems for our users. A quote from our user interview: "We come from different countries and zones, and it's really hard to figure out what time fits us well to meet. Usually, I negotiate with my friends that time."
So what's the bigger problem? People don't have enough time to do the things they want to do because they have so many multiple tasks in the day. And so how should we deal with these problems? And what if there's someone who can take care of these problems that know what you want?
So from our user research, found what user need a product that can integrate applications, make predictions, accurate answer questions, and efficiently get the system and provide meaningful suggestions. Working across different platforms and devices and cares about the privacy and security. So we compared the competitive products whether they meet users' needs. For prediction part, Alexa and Siri, they can predict what the user wants and can't speak aloud the important notifications and information without first being prompted by users. For the cross-platform and devices, Alexa is constrained to operate only within home environment and Siri only available in iOS. For the suggestion part, both Alexa and Siri don't provide the user suggestions and don't help them respond faster during a chat session. So our ideal solution focuses on 3 attributes, which are prediction, suggestion, and working on our platforms. Through this, we will meet user needs and differentiate from the competitive products. Therefore, our solution focuses on the algorithm proactively tell users what they are concerned about, provided suggestions based on different contexts for users. It will be personalized based on understanding user behavior and works across different platforms by integrating third-party applications and services into one platform.
We narrowed down our solution to 3 parts: email, schedule, and third-party applications on the centralized platform to help users better manage email, effectively schedule, and seamlessly communicate to work around for them. So how this centralized platform can help Mike and other people to deal with the routine tasks. here is a new story about a day with the Google Assistant.
Google Assistant is proactive, suggestive, integrated, and personalized. This is Mike's assistant. He chooses to name her Anna. Anna can be customized and humanized. The best part is that she is in the centralized platform so that she can access all the different services. Anna learns from Mike's behavior every day and helps Mike have a better life.
Good morning, Mike. It's time to wake up.
Anna accesses Mike's calendar and tells him that he has a meeting in the morning.
Mike, we have a meeting at 9 a.m.
Okay, got it.
Anna knows traffic conditions and proactively tells Mike the best route.
Hey, Mike, the path train's been delayed. Leave by 8:10 a.m. or take a cab.
By analyzing each email's content and sender, Anna is able to notify Mike about important emails and prioritize them.
You've received an email from Aaron asking about the progress of your project.
Please read it for me.
The project budget is approved. Speak to you soon.
Can you please remind me to reply when I arrive at the office?
Okay, I will.
After Mike gets to the office, Anna detects his location, pops up, and reminds him to reply to Aaron's email. She also provides Mike with some quick reply options. Now Mike will never miss important emails anymore. After a productive day, Mike remembers that he hasn't seen his friends in a while. So he asks Anna to help with event planning. Anna then cross-references each of his friends' schedules and tastes and recommends that they go out to a live jazz bar. Mike and his friends meet at the restaurant and have a great time.
Thirty seconds remaining.
Yeah, so quick go through, here is our 2-year timeline and we focus on and we key part. For the beta version, the budget is 477,200. This is the breakdown. And so currently Google has 1.17 billion users use on Google search. The potential market is big. We aim.
And we're done. Thank you, Ing.
Yeah, so that's all.
Thank you. Now you kind of have the opportunity to maybe follow up further in answering questions. Any questions from the judges panel?
How does Anna know how to prioritize the importance of emails? How does she know that that email wasn't the most important one?
So it's based on focus and the sender, content, and started email. So for example, Google Assistant for the sender, if they are contacted who use the right email to the most recently, user have exchanged the email frequently with the sender, it will be marked as the important email. And for the second part is about content. So if Google Assistant found the thread of the emails are common and they are categorized as the similar topics, and when user often read the message with this topic, it will be seen as the important emails. And the third part is when the sender or emails that are sent and received between senders and recipient within 24 hours, it's an important emails. And the last one is the starter email, which means users manually mark the email as important or start. So it's the important emails.
Is that a coach's question? Because you seem to have the exact answer.
Good, man.
So it like learns from your.
Does this work exclusively with Gmail then? Or does it integrate with other email systems?
Actually, we hope it can integrate different email systems.
Yeah, but we now is like for our users pinpoint, they have like 6 Gmail accounts. So we want this centralized platform to help them first, and we can tackle the rest of them later.
So quick follow-up question, is your ideal customer general consumers or is it enterprise?
Consumers.
So it's consumers.
I think that's a good question, like, talk with other platforms. And again, if you think of it as a person, you can talk to people with a Hotmail address. You can talk to people with a Gmail address. And you can learn, you can communicate with both of those
I was thinking
platforms. And
the scenario that was outlined struck me as a business scenario, which tends to over-index, at least presently, on Exchange using Outlook, at least most, well, I don't know the figures, but, so that's what was striking. That's what my question.
I'm curious why you and the other group kind of separated and what it was that you guys analyzed that you thought was different in terms of the challenge or the solution, and if it related at all to your different professional or personal backgrounds or experiences, it might have led you to see the problem.
So the answer I have is from our user research, and we found our user has the problem, has struggling with giving many emails and scheduling events with their friends, and also manage multiple channels, the text message and stuff, and all conclude is like the notification problem, and which we tackle to have a centralized platform will help with their issue. And for other group, they want to just narrow it down to focus on one problem specifically, and and so we have different direction to tackle. Is that answer your question?
I think that the idea in both 1 and 2 of the interaction quantum being a person is a brilliant innovation. And the more it can be like that, so it literally is a contact who is a person, and have that, boom, linked to APIs, and just, that's gonna, I haven't come across that as a big deal, I think. And so, and then a point just to say, a man with a problem with a woman who's all cute and wonderful and has glasses and things to solve it for me is like, don't push that. Or say, it could be gender switched or however you're going to do it. That kind of insulted me a little bit in branding and might insult 50% of the population more.
And we're done with time for Q&A. Thank you, Dean, for that last comment. And well done. We'll have one more team representing the Chase Banking Challenge, and then we'll take a break. Students, if you haven't done so yet, please enter into the sheet and input your scoring before you forget what you said. Janelle and Azu, I'm particularly talking to you since you wasn't seeing your scores in there.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sejal. I'm Amy. I'm young. We're a team of Stash. Look around the room. Who do you see? At least 19 of the people in this room are between the age of 18 and 34, or commonly referred to as millennial. There are 83.1 million millionaires in the United States that are coming into adulthood. We are starting careers, taking out student loan, buying cars, houses, getting married, and starting families. This is an exciting period of our lives. But there's one big area that a lot of us struggle with, is money. Money is easy to spend and hard to control. Many of us experienced the Great Recession. We saw the ugly side of credit, and we learned that it is hard to be financially stable. We know the importance of saving, but we have a hard time actually doing it. In addition to external reports, we went out and surveyed 80 fellow millionaires to see how they feel about money. While many of them feel confident, there was a definite underlying theme of feeling overwhelmed. Even those who felt in control of their money reported putting in a lot of effort to get to the position. When asked about their savings and spending habits, these struggles became even more apparent. 1 in 4 respondents admitted to overspending regularly and feeling nervous to even look at their bank accounts. Why? Because they knew that they hadn't kept track of their spending and were afraid of what they would see. As a result, they put off checking their account to just once a week or less. This cycle exacerbated their struggles with saving for the future. With the knowledge of how important saving is and the struggles to commit to saving, this produced a huge amount of stress. 45% of millionaires reported feeling chronically stressed about money. This level of stress resulted in frequent anxiety, guilt, and issues within their personal relationship. Increasingly, we are putting off investing further in education, marriage, and even independence because of the stress we feel around money. How did we get here? It often comes down to the fact that we think of our future self as strangers. It is hard to connect the decision we make now versus the consequences that come with them. This shows up in many aspects of our lives, from eating healthy to staying out too late the night before a presentation. But one area where it is really hurting us is in how we deal with money. So let's look at the day in the life of one of our own.
Meet Brian. Every day, Brian spends money on all kinds of things. Metro card, coffee, lunch, another coffee, bills, gym membership, new jacket, beer, more beer, and tickets to get home. Brian just had a great day. It seems like he has it all together. But wait a minute. When Brian gets home, he is nervous to look at his bank account. We've all been there, but it doesn't have to be this way. Introducing Stash. With Stash, you can understand how you spend your money and get tips and hacks that help you save. He sets a goal for what his stash will go toward. Brian is now saving for a trip to Australia. Every day, Brian gives a summary of how he did the day before and tips on how he might do better. Good morning, Brian. You're $130 away from your trip. I see that you're over budget on coffee. If you make it at home, you could save $5 today. Here's a video to show you how. It's almost the weekend. If you invite your friends over for dinner instead of going out, you could all save $20. Brian now understands how the small decisions he makes today help him save money for the future. He's also having a great time in Australia. Good job, Brian. Stash, your budget companion.
Stash helps users connect their present selves with their future selves by helping them understand how the decisions they make today affect their lives tomorrow. On an average, millennials text about 100 times a day. Stash meets them where they already are. While we recognize that there are many emerging apps in the market who are already doing this, but how is Stash different from them? Stash makes the experience a lot more intelligent and personalized. Instead of using the transactional data of a single user, Stash now gives recommendations based on the data that it has across all its user base. This helps Brian to make informed decisions that as he moves through the day. Stash isn't just another bot. When you use Stash, you feel like you're talking to your future self. According to recent studies, people save 50% more for retirement when they're looking at an aged picture of themselves. Merrill Lynch is already using this idea for the retirement saving plan. Again, as you know, Stash helps users talk to their future selves. Now, Brian can subconsciously connect how his actions today affect his future, resulting in making smarter decisions and healthier choices. Additionally, when the user completes their goal, Stash rewards them with 1% Stash cash. Just like our credit card, but instead of spending, they are giving Stash cash for savings on them. We are aiming to disrupt the traditional banking experience that is currently transactional, functional, and abstract by providing a tool that is much more friendly, conversational, enabling, personalized, healthy, and rewarding at the same time. It helps users think of the future as something that they can impact today. Now, users don't have to be nervous or have to deal with a lot of numbers by checking really long bank statements. Instead, we are just making decisions for the future less distant and giving people back a sense of control.
So you've heard the idea. What's next? First, we need to create some key partnerships. The first of those partnerships needs to be with a bank, which will allow us to get to market faster because we won't have to carry our own banking license. That partnership could be with a very public bank like Chase, or it could be with a partner that sits behind our system. The second thing that we need to do is build our team. We feel like we have a good grasp on how to design and research and manage the process, but we need to hire some tech all-stars to help us build Stash. So after that, we're going to beta test in New York City. As we do that, we'll learn how people are interacting with the app, what we need to add or take away as we move toward launching a national MVP. So let's look at the market. As Young mentioned, there are 83.1 million millennials in the United States. 23% of them view mobile banking as an important part of their day-to-day interactions with money. We think that we could create a product that could capture 6% of that market, which would be around 1 million users. So what will it take? We believe with a team working full-time on this, we could get to beta in 6 months and get to MVP 6 months after that. You'll see the largest line item in this budget is people because we plan on paying ourselves, and developers, as you guys know, are expensive. So to get to beta, we're looking at around $275,000 and for MVP, around $650,000. After beta, our business model will switch to subscription, which will be $4 per user per year. This is cheaper than a lot of serious budgeting apps on the market and allows us to keep the platform ad-free. We're also going to be working with that partnership bank, keeping some of the goal money there, and so we'll earn a little bit of interest. So post-MVP, we're looking at fixed costs of around $624,000. That will be around 156,000 users to break even, which might sound like a big number, but we've been working with Chase and they have 20 million users. So
30 seconds.
when it comes to money, 50% of millennials feel like they're in control. A lot of us struggle to work for the future. With Stash, users will feel healthy, confident, and aware when it comes to their money. This is Stash, your budgeting companion. Thank you.
Well done, you made it 20 seconds under, and we could actually understand everything you were saying really fast. And now, questions from the judges group.
What would be the top 3 things you would learn from your MVP as you build it?
Top 3 things to learn. I think the first is kind of what, I'll say one, but the goals that people are working towards, I think impacts a lot of how much the future you, like, how far you should be aged. If you're working towards goals that are right in front of you, then maybe putting an old version of yourself in front of you doesn't necessarily make sense. But I think a lot of it comes down to like questions and how the recommendations would change behavior actually. So once we have your transaction data, we would actually be able to tell if you took those recommendations and made a difference, or if not, what needs to be tweaked in order to achieve that.
So would this change behavior would be one of your questions?
Yes.
Okay. That's kind of the primary one.
That's the primary one for sure, yeah. Yeah. And then a lot of the other things fall under that.
So with behavior change also, we know that it's really hard for people to sustain. You might get them for a week. How would you get them to go beyond a week? If you learned that they were dropping off.
Yeah. Did you?
Very answer to that. Just maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
I would, so well done, I think it's super cool. I would love it to make pain more visceral, like make it more painful. So let's say I have a cigarette, every time I have a cigarette, I pay my future self $1.
Mm-hmm.
Or every time I don't work out, every time I don't run 2 miles a week, I pay my future self $1. So I love the idea of making the future tangible, but making how do you make it more painful, I guess, to live in the present and not say.
Yeah, I will say that we debated on whether we should incorporate punishments, and that's a really interesting take on it. So, did you?
Yeah, actually we had this crazy idea where we would like to block users' bank card if they didn't really leave. Actually, it's up to them. They can completely decide their own consequence. I mean, everybody has different threshold and everybody wants to be, given a punishment in a different way. So, and some people like to follow by it. So, that's something that we would love to explore in the future.
Yeah.
It's interesting, the behavior change, right? 51% of people don't, or some statistic like that, don't like checking their bank account. I guess you're assuming Stash is going to make them more comfortable checking it because they're basically able to, they're trading doubt for ownership, right? And then they start to feel more empowered. It's interesting in terms of maintaining their relationship with Stash. That's almost the point at which I think an AI integration would be fantastic. Because how I'm using the app can tell Stash how Stash should be interacting with me. Don't overhit this guy with messaging or he's going to bug out. Hit this guy a lot with messaging. It's the only way he engages. It would be a great way for you to calibrate your engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think bringing AI was definitely something that we didn't specifically mention, but that is definitely one of the intentions behind it, to understand how users are using it so that we can tweak on an individual level what they're getting, how often they're getting it, what level of conversation, if they need prompts or if they just want to type in free text. All of that, the system will learn over time.
It seems the second question, sorry, is one is can you create behavior change? The second one, can you create sustained engagement?
Yeah.
After you've created that behavior change.
It reminds me of Acorns, where you it takes it rounds up each transaction by stops with that. So first question, I'm curious if you talked to any or looked into that, or anyone talked to people that used it and fell off of their engagement with that app. And another thing it reminds me of is the lottery, the opposite of the lottery, using the rewards, some sporadic rewards to encourage saving rather than spending. So I'm curious about those two.
Yeah, we actually tried a couple of the different apps that are out there during this last 15 weeks to explore what they were doing.
And also, when we spoke to those 80 millennials, we got a lot of insight from our research that many of these people download the app, use it for a week, and then just they drop out. We are completely aware, and I think it's a very difficult and a very challenging thing to do if you can maintain a user to stick to your app. While it's super challenging, we don't want to make it buggy. Like you said, we don't want to pester them with so many messages. We just want to make it as smart, as fluid as possible. And
if you can get them to come back 3 times, you can get them to start creating a habit. So that's you focus on that big first section, and then you can focus on the rest of it.
Okay, I'm sorry, we have to pause now. Thank you very much, guys. Well done. We're going to take a 10-minute break now. Well, the next team gets set up. Again, restrooms are this way, kitchen is that way, wine is hidden in the cabinet behind the kitchen. We'll be busting that out a little bit. Thank you for being here. Love you, mate.